For those who don't know, Hamza is a self-improvement content creator who claims to help young men improve their lives by giving life advice. While his intentions may seem noble, his ideas can often do more harm than good. Look, I am no relationship expert and I think that love is a strange thing. But seeing these ideas and hearing them, I just can't keep myself silent. There is a lot to talk about him, but I'm going to go into specifics. The relationship advice. So his relationship advice is built on his fears. Hamza is deeply afraid of his partners hurting him in some way, leaving him, cheating on him, and so on and so on. He thinks that most girls are cheaters and most of them are programmed to cheat. This is visible by the content he posts, where he a lot of times says your girl isn't out with her friends, she's probably cheating and you know it. And this starts to set the setting that he's kind of paranoid. And instead of confronting his fears in a healthy way, he builds rigid rules around relationships and encourages everybody to do the same. He promotes mind games, playing the bad boy and dominating in the relationship. He says never need her more than she needs you. For some, this seems like a good way to keep a woman. Playing mind games keeps her entertained and always chasing, and being dominant or even above her means that you hold the power in the relationship, so you are not the one that can get hurt. But I believe that this approach in the long term will leave you heartbroken.
But even after admitting this,
let's start with this trend of being some type of way. First off, by pretending and playing games, you're tearing yourself down because you're going against your own morals. You're wasting all this time standing behind things you don't truly believe in. Instead of doing what you know is right, strengthening your own values, growing in the process. If that's not bad enough, you're also hurting the other person in the process by misleading them, tricking them into falling in love with someone who isn't really you. Yes, it might work for a while, but eventually the act slips up, the real you comes out, and suddenly the other person doesn't love what they see anymore. Now you have wasted your time, their time, forcing something that was never meant to be, just for it to eventually break. Now that time could have been spent finding matches that were better for both of you. Instead of two people heartbroken and sad, it could have been four people having the best time of their lives. Now this next part is very interesting. Focusing on not being cheated on seems like the right way to go, because nobody wants to get cheated on. But it's actually self-sabotage. Let's say your goal is to not get cheated on. You decide that the goal is to get as much respect as possible because the other person won't probably cheat on a person who they respect. In this scenario, people might be so fixated on getting respect that they could be reacting very strongly on any disrespect. That sounds nice, like why should you tolerate any disrespect? But this can dig much deeper. People can start to overreact on little jokes and start pressing the other person for saying them. But it could have been that the other person was actually just trying to be playful and funny, not meaning anything harmful or disrespectful. Now, a fun thing turns into this pressing atmosphere. See, hyper-focusing on things means reacting to them a lot faster, which can lead to an overreaction. The second problem is that hyper-focusing on one thing leads you to not see the other things. Say that a person wants to gain power in the relationship, and many think that if you give less attention to the other person, you will have more power over them. So you don't give them much attention. Let's say that the other person needs you in that moment the most. Good old emotional support, you know. The person gets farther away from you and the relationship worsens. Now, do it a couple more times and the person might get a little upset. To put it in simpler terms, it's like hyper-focusing on not hitting a cyclist while you're driving the car, so you don't see the oncoming traffic and you don't see the car right in front of you, so you crash into it. Something like that. There are hundreds of things that can go wrong. It won't help to focus on just one specific thing. So I'm not going to be the one that says bunch of errors but doesn't give solutions or other options. And I guess the options are coming to the understanding that you need to find the right one. It doesn't mean that you just don't need to do anything yourself and not build yourself. It means understanding that you don't need to get every girl you can. You need to try to be like a more complete version of yourself until you find a match. Don't be someone else just to get something. Another thing is that it's important to understand that everything flows and is not static. Everybody around you is just a slightly different person each day, and it requires new approaches. Every day is different, so a one way fix won't do in any relationships. Don't get fixated on one method. So keep present so you can feel the change of the flow and go with it. Then take a new approach every day. And at last, stop being kid and be an adult. Your grandparents probably weren't thinking, I better not send her the mail next week so she thinks I'm busy so I get more power in this relationship. No! They lived in the real world and understood that love isn't a game or this magical fairy tale, it's teamwork. This understanding makes relationships more strong. There is no magical spell, it's just two people deciding if they want to work together or they don't.